I mean, is that
let
where
me
we're going?
this $60 billion figure that they're throwing out there. Um, I guess that's the versus prior 10 years that they're talking about. They're talking about $60 billion over 10 years. Okay, let's just do the quick math there. Divide that by 10.
Yes.
So we're talking about
Yes.
$6 billion a year. How many
Yes.
parks do they actually own? That is 10 parks. So 600 million per park. That is not much. Also, they are at least 5 billion of that is going towards cruise ships. So already whittling it down. We're about 550 per park right there.
Yeah, because by the way, this is parks, experiences, and products, which includes cruise ships, and CapEx includes buying boats, and boats are expensive. And by the way, they do earmark the fact that boats are one of the things a little bit later. So just that's out there. But yeah, okay. So take off the boats, right? And you probably shear off. Yeah, you probably shear it down to, like I said, 500 million a park or less. And we all know that's not equal, right? We all know that that's not going to come out equally. Some parks are going to get a lot more than others. And certainly some parks really don't have room to expand.
Right.
Or really can't expand.
So you would know this better than most. Do you remember what Bob Iger said about Florida investments when DeSantis finally got rid of Reedy Creek? Do you remember how much he said he was going to invest over the next 10 years in Florida alone?
I believe he claimed about 10 or 20 billion.
17 billion.
Yeah, somewhere between there. Yeah.
Over 10 years. Okay. Again, dividing that up by 10, 1.7, dividing that up by 425 million per park. So when he says he's doubling, that's some fugazi right there.
Yeah, because he's already said he's going to spend it. It's actually, if you really think about it, having what he said he was going to spend. So it's actually cutting down on a previous promise, which is, par for the course with Disney. So, and I'll let you go on this one, but this one is the last one I want to get to before you've got to bounce here, Jonas, which is the 100K acres of land for possible future development. Okay. So just looking at this, so we have obviously the Disney Cruise Lines. It's not really the acres of land, although I guess they have certain islands, right, that they're developing. So maybe a couple of acres of islands.
Yep. They did just buy a new island. Good for them.
Right. Yeah. Good for them. They're going to get to name that. Not a lot of space to develop in the Asian theaters, right? A little bit more in Shanghai. Definitely Hong Kong is maxed out. Tokyo is pretty maxed out. I'm not sure about the footprint of Disneyland Paris and how much room they've got there, but the bulk of this 1K acres, by far, the lion's share of developable land is right here in Walt Disney World, Florida.
Absolutely.
So that to me is it. Plus, maybe if you want to throw in some DVC properties, some DVC land.
That's
maybe.
That is in fact, I think that's where most of this capital expenditure is going to. They want to go for the areas where they make the most money on the least amount of real estate. And that's going to be these giant timeshare facilities that they put up at their parks where they are I'm not sure what legal. It's a bunch of baloney.
I'll say it because as I've known, this is one of the industries I worked in, right? And I know a lot about that. In fact, I know people that work for DVC, and I may or may not talk to them on a regular basis. And I can say this because I knew I was part of compliance, so I know exactly what you can and can't say. First of all, you can't actually call. It's really funny. You cannot call a timeshare a financial investment. So when they're selling you timeshares, they're not allowed to call it an investment because they can't actually prove it's going to appreciate. They can't actually prove it's an asset that's going to appreciate in value, right? And it's obviously restricted on resale. It's obvious, or there's limitations on resale. It's not like a normal piece of property, right? What you can say is they are incredibly expensive and they are insanely profitable. I cannot stress this enough. Timeshares are insanely profitable for every single timeshare company, which is why all the big brands, Hilton, Hyatt, Marriott, all of them, they're all into timeshares, all of them, because you get it coming and going. You get them to buy in points in an already inflated price. They're paying way more than they would pay if they just bought it themselves, right? But beyond that, you're paying them for maintenance, So they control the maintenance as well. So you're paying them for maintenance and for buying it. So they're getting you on all sides there. And then, of course, you've got limitations on transferability, on use of points. If you don't use the points, they expire. You're never using them to maximum efficiency, right? There's always some sort of thing that comes up. So yeah, vacation rentals are extremely, in the modern era, the way the modern vacation rental works, they're extremely profitable, right? Now, some people may say, I like it. It's worth it for me because I love Disney and I want to go to Disney every year. And I feel like it's a savings for me to go to Disney. Okay, cool. But I actually have an old episode, an old video I did on DVC. Go check that out, because the math doesn't work out anymore. It doesn't work out with 2023 numbers. In order for this to be affordable for you, you've got to do some crazy math. You've got to do some crazy justification for purchasing a property, specifically when you think you can just purchase right outside of Disney for so much cheaper,
right,
and save so much more money.
To just have a literal property outside of Disney and then put that money towards actual park admission would be a much more cost-effective way of doing. And hey, you could even rent that thing out part of the year if you got industrious.
That's what I'm saying. You can rent it out. You got rental income, right? You have people that will manage these for you. You can have people that know. I know folks that do this as their thing. They just manage the properties, and you're getting rental income. And then when you want to use it for a month or a year or 2 weeks, whatever, you go and use it. Saves you a bunch of money that you cannot do with DVC. But yeah, that's perhaps another debate for another day. Brandon Lesko says, I wish they didn't have to pull this BS. I may have had a couple turkey legs and drank my way half around the world and gotten hibachi a few times. No mas. Honestly, this was my favorite thing to do. I literally would just go various directions. I may or may not have, flirted with girls in different languages. It just that happens, ended up at hibachi where I'm like drunkenly, like talking to families. I'm like there by myself and they're all looking at me weird. And I'm like having another bottle of sake or whatever at the table, where the guy's got 3 screaming kids, and they'll always look over to me. They're like, at least you're having a good time. I'm like, you're damn right. I love hibachi. No more hibachi bucks for them. No more hibachi bucks for them. Not K says, where would they have to expand since most of the land is conservation Disney World? I can open a GIS map and can't spot anywhere under the WDW Disney acreage and conservation land. They would rather build more DVC. They would have to have mitigation offsets. So if they built an entire park, they're going to have mitigation offsets. So they're going to have to buy conservation credits, or they're going to have to buy conservation land elsewhere in Florida. So yeah, they're going to have to offset if they decide to build in Disney World. But part of that is, if they want to build in Disney World, they need development credits. You know who owns those? Well, they're fighting over that right now. So those development credits to build a new theme park to expand are what they're fighting over, but they should be owned and controlled by the district. Formerly Reedy Creek, now the CFTOD. That's how Florida law works. That's how I believe it will shake out. And I'm betting and putting all my bank on it's going to turn out the CFTOD wins that battle. If they don't, it's going to be a massive change in the state of Florida. This video has been a clip of a previous live stream, and it's clipped so you can get the information in a shorter, compact package, the information you need. If you want the full video, the whole context, the whole thing, you can check out the full stream. That is in the link below. Check that out, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.